Hi, everybody. Welcome. I am Amber Edwards. I am the Vice President of Talent Development here at Opportunity Stanislaus. We are a nonprofit economic development group that focuses on helping businesses. We have sector strategies contract that is funded by the Stanislaus County Department of Workforce, which is how we are able to bring you this exciting content. We've chosen to focus this last sector strategies talk on recruiting talent to Stanislaus County because we know that it's an area of concern for everyone. So again, we will be sending out the presentation afterwards along with the accompanying materials, and you can get a link to this video as well. So sit back and relax and enjoy, and we're going to get started. Okay, so this is about Opportunity Stanislaus. Our HR department helps our investors with hiring assistance. We can do full recruitments. We can do hiring related research. If you don't know how much you should be paying people, if you don't know what the talent pool is like in the area, if you want to post some things on social media, we can do that for you, or if you need help getting referrals to training. So why are we talking about recruiting people to Stanislaus County? So here's what the picture looks like right now. We are down some jobs from where we were in 2020. We were at 196,000 jobs. We're now at about 187. We know that the reason for that is that a lot of people have opted to join the gig economy, and we haven't quite been able to lure them back yet. Most of our jobs here locally are obviously manufacturing, warehouse logistics, government, education, hospitality, and service. Again, the hospitality and service has kind of shifted because of the pandemic. You can see our population's growing. We are expected to grow even more in the coming years. But unfortunately, even though we have a lot of people in the workforce and a lot of people here locally, we do lose a lot of our talent to the commuter workforce. So we know that about 25% of our talent commutes outside of the area for work. The big reason that they do that is they want to make more money. The biggest place that they go is San Joaquin County. That's the leading one. Alameda's up there. Santa Clara. Those are obviously those high-paying Silicon Valley-ish jobs. But all of those people that are commuting and right now paying more than ever for gas, 83% of them would be willing to come back and work for you, even if it meant that they would have to make less money. So just because people are commuting doesn't mean that they're always going to be commuters. As we know, the work landscape has changed quite a bit. In 2018, only 2% of people worked from home, which is kind of surprising. Now we're at 42%. So if we think about that number of people that are working in Stanislaus County, that 190,000 or so, there's 163 million people working nationally. So when we think about whether or not we can make a position remote, we have to think about why not make it fully remote, and then we can recruit from a much larger talent pool. Obviously, that depends on the job. But employers are finding that it's increasing their productivity in a lot of cases, that they're able to reduce overhead, things like office space, utilities. Some big employers were doing free food as often as every day. So obviously, those expenses are high. But let's say that you do need to deal with relocation because you're not able to attract the talent that you want. There's a lot of different types of relocation packages. We have lump sum. That's when you give your candidates a lump sum of money. That amount can vary. We've seen anything from 20,000 to as high as 100,000. It really depends on the position. It really depends on if that person is a renter or a homeowner and how intent you are on luring them to the area. There's also reimbursement. This is when they pay for the moving expenses themselves and you pay them back. There's third-party relocation. This is when you kind of outsource everything because, gosh, we have so much to do in HR and this is just a whole nother job. There's direct billing when you allow them to kind of combine those things and bill directly for those services. And then there's expatriation assistance, and that's for when you're relocating people who live internationally. So what you should know up front is that there are tax implications for all of these kinds of packages. You'll want to talk to your accountant and obviously the candidates themselves to talk about who bears what part of the tax implications and how that works. For lump sum, I do know that it's considered part of their salary. So reimbursement is better for some people. Here are the types of expenses that are typically covered. You obviously need to get their household goods packed, unpacked, get the people over here. That's kind of the bare minimum, the most popular things. Then you have things like long and short-term housing. Sometimes you want to pay for the hotel. Sometimes it's apartments. Sometimes you tack on those real estate fees. You have property management. If they are still trying to sell the house in the old location, which we know right now that the real estate market is kind of in an unusual place. So those kinds of things are possible. If they're relocating from another country, it would be cultural assistance. You'd want to make sure that they had access to language lessons, things like that. So you guys could come up with the best relocation package possible, and sometimes people are still going to decline it. The top reasons that they decline, it's just not a good time for their family. Sometimes they are just kind of passive job seekers and they did not apply for the job, but you wanted to present this opportunity to them. So they weren't looking because it's not the best time for them personally. Sometimes they have older parents living with them. Sometimes they have little kids and they're just really integrated into their community / school / care system. The second thing that is really big to look at is they decline because of their spouse or partner employment. So that's a really big one, and that's something that we're going to be able to help you with today. Obviously, COVID was a big reason. In the past couple of years, people weren't really too sure about what was going to be happening. So they were kind of delaying big moves. Other people were making those big moves and saw it as an opportunity. So there's some stuff we obviously can't do anything about. Modesto went from being one of the most affordable places in the country to one of the least affordable in just a couple of years. It was our very affordability that led to it not being affordable. We haven't built a lot of houses in recent times, so we don't have that housing inventory. Another reason that we don't think about too often is you can have this really great job. Let's say you had this an architect position. But let's say that Modesto had a lower than average job outlook for architects. The person would look at the job market for architects overall and potentially decide that if it didn't work out with you, they wouldn't want to be stuck without a job, period. So they might decide not to move to an area that's not really for their type of talent. Things that you can solve for. You can help with the spouse and partner employment situation. We're going to talk to you about that. You can help solve for the compensation. We had a presentation 2 months ago on benefits. If you missed that, reach out to us. We have a lot of ideas for free and low cost benefits that are really popular with the workforce across different generations. And you can ease concern around child and elder care when you can speak to those concerns and the quality of care available in the area. So when we talk about spouse, partner, employment assistance, we talk about here's what they're concerned about. They're concerned that they're not going to be able to find work. Some spouses want to actually work in the same location. Sometimes they just have no idea about their resume. They haven't been in the workforce, things like that. So issues are kind of all across the board. So one thing that you want to make sure of when you're trying to help people relocate to Stanislaus County is really highlighting the area. So you guys are experts on your company. A lot of you guys are experts on current laws. You're experts on changing laws. You're experts on everything else, and you don't really have time to be experts on Stanislaus County. So we've prepared a couple of guides called Selling Stanislaus, and there's two versions of them. One version is specifically for you guys, HR practitioners. And it has information on school. It has information on the weather, how many sunny days a year there are. It has information on crime, what we're doing about it, homelessness, all of those kinds of things that you might get asked about. Then we have the short, sweet version of Selling Stanislaus that is just for the candidates. So it's a compressed version, and these are a couple sample pages from that guide, where we just kind of highlight fun facts about what a great place it is to live. We talk about things to do here locally. We talk about things to do in the region. Did we have a question in the chat? Okay, Amanda and Lynn, our recruiters, are here helping me, so they will let us know. Speaking of Amanda, we are working on a website called Accompany Me. This is a support website for those trailing spouses, which is the term for a spouse or partner who is going to follow the candidate that you are trying to lure to the county. So we are creating a website that will really showcase what it's like to live and work in Stanislaus County. We're going to talk about where they can volunteer if there's somebody that doesn't need to work, or where they can take classes, everything from cake decorating to woodworking to gardening. We're going to talk about elder and child care. Again, these are big issues that are on people's minds. We're going to recommend some elder care information, some preschool information. We're going to talk about those community assets and things to do here on the website. And we're going to talk about our different industries and the job prospects within those industries so that they can really understand the market when they're thinking about moving here. So we're looking to have that website launched in about a month. So we're really excited about that. So obviously the first step after you guys kind of have them on the line and you've sent them all the information about your job and your company, you've maybe sent them the electronic version of our guide, you're going to want to plan their visit. So we went ahead and let you know the steps that you would want to do. First, this is, a few weeks, a month out. You're going to get the itinerary. You're going to get them rental cars. You're going to look at reservations where it's possible. So obviously, you're going to want to plan the visits carefully, curating them around those areas which are really appealing and fun. You might take them shopping in downtown Turlock. You might take them antiquing in Oakdale or out to the cheese factory. You might take them hiking or rafting. Might take them out to Knight's Ferry. You can look at our 101 things to do if you're looking for ideas for those itineraries. But there's some more options here. And then you're going to get right down to it where you're going to be looking at the day before, and you're going to really want to be confirming everything, making sure that you've thought of the little touches. There's a lot of good local magazines that have information on the area that really sells it. Publications like Modesto View or Stanislaus Magazine, Contentment, they really have a lot of pride in the area. They talk about what a good community we have here locally, and we really do, and that's really an asset. You'll want to make sure that you have a small gift for them. There's a lot of local things that you can incorporate. You can get them a bottle of local wine. We obviously have some of the biggest wineries in the world here locally. We have a lot of fruit stands. Those are not things that they have everywhere else. Or you can get local books and guides that are just kind of fun gifts. So let's say you've decided that you're going to need to recruit people, but then you have the question of, where am I going to find the type of talent that I need for my organization? We have software that can help. I put together a couple of samples for you guys. So in this scenario, we have a company that's seeking a civil engineer. And what I did was enter that into our database, and it shows you the hotspots for civil engineer talent across the country. You can see those dark blue ones: California, Texas, Florida, interesting enough, New Hampshire are hotspots for civil engineer talent. The next thing that you're going to want to consider is, well, great, they have a lot of civil engineers in New Hampshire. Is it feasible for me to think about recruiting them to my area? You can look at this data that we have, where we have their earnings and we have their adjusted earnings based on where they'd be relocating. So we could adjust for the rising cost of living in Stanislaus County with this software. So this is a really cool, interesting tool. Obviously, you guys would then say, well, then how would we target the talent in that particular area? You could do things like social media, where you can target specific areas. You could do geofencing, where you're putting fences around certain applications and geographies. And you could also you could even do direct mail to certain zip codes. We could really dial it in and get specific for you on which zip codes are a hotspot for talent. So that's what we have for you about attracting people to the area. Obviously, it's a complex subject and everybody's situations are different, but we want you guys to all know that we do have those research tools available. We do have those guides to help with recruiting that you can send out. We can connect you with where you guys are going to want to look to, if you want to send out links to electronic publications, if you want to send out information, we can help you with that. All of this is obviously free to our investors. If you're not an investor, reach out and we will still look to help you. Speaking of helping you, we are aware a lot of you have reached out to us and you have training needs in just a ton of areas and you're feeling really overwhelmed, especially now. So what we're creating is a talent development program called Rising Tides that's specifically for HR practitioners. There's going to be two parts to this. The first part is going to be a 3.5-hour event where you guys can come out and you can learn about how to attract top talent and how to keep that top talent once you've attracted them. Obviously, right now, we have a lot of people job hopping. We have a lot of people resigning. But people do want to stay where they are. It's just very compelling when they get so many offers. So we're going to teach you about those things. We're going to teach you how to make sure that you're competitive. We're going to give you information on the research tools that we have so that you understand them and can make use of them. And then we're going to have a longer, day-long educational seminar. And in that one, you guys are going to learn about how to hire for different types of traits. You're going to learn about in-depth legal tools. You're going to learn about different kinds of retention policies that you can be setting. Every one of you, though, whether you do the short seminar or you do the day long, you're going to get access to a whole portfolio of materials where we're going to have things like candidate rejection letters. It seems so simple, but it's honestly just such an easy thing to overlook, even as you're kind of undecided about who you're going to hire. Maybe it just gets lost in there and you don't do that. But obviously you're alienating future applicants and workforce and potential customers, things like that. We really just want to be on top of. We're going to give you guys the tools for stuff like that. So we're going to help you calculate your turnover rate. We're going to make sure that you guys have information if you want to start an employee referral program or a bonus plan. We can help you update your employee handbook. So really anything that you guys need in the HR arena, we can help you with. And that's what Rising Tides is about. We think that we're all going to be better if we can all have access to a higher level of training. So with that said, let's talk to you guys. We obviously want to hear from you. Does anybody have questions on these relocation tools or research that we can help address here? If you have something that you kind of want to sidebar, obviously we, reach out and we're happy to do that. But while you have us here, if anybody had questions. Yes, Dawn, we are going to send those tools out. We're going to send out the PowerPoint and we are going to, we're going to send out the information from Atlas Moving Company. They do a relocation survey every year. They've done it for decades now. And because they're a moving company, I guess it kind of makes sense. They're trusted with a lot of relocation. So they're just a natural partner to do this survey. But I'm going to show you guys that survey when we send it out. And it's going to give you a lot of strategy around creating your relocation packages, which we didn't really get into here other than to say the different types and what kind of expenses are common. It's going to be completely custom to your business. So, does anybody else have any questions? Great. So, yeah, we didn't want to take a whole lot of your time, but we did want to make you aware of these relocation tools. These are free to any investor. If you want help with honing in on your strategy, we are here for you. Myself, Amanda, and Lynn are wonderful recruiters. We can help you with recruitments. You're allowed a certain amount per year. So if you haven't taken advantage of that and you are an investor, let us know. Yeah, so we kind of went into the restaurants a little bit. You do want to make sure that you're referring them to places that really have a good track record. Places like Camp for Wine, Galetto, Redwood Cafe, places that regardless are going to be shining stars locally, right? So we can give you a short list of those that we've kind of curated. In terms of hotels, we can give you a list of those as well. We were talking about rental cars. Obviously, there's a few locations throughout Turlock and Modesto. There's a big location at Modesto Airport. But there's also Turo, which gives you a good option if you really wanted to customize the experience and give them higher end cars or more specialty cars. If you're recruiting a more progressive person, maybe you want to get into electric vehicles or things like that. There's not a lot of Teslas at Enterprise. Okay. Did anybody else have questions? Okay, great. Well, we're here for you guys. If you think of it later and you want to know, we're going to be sending out that email from us with all these tools. And then you just let us know and we will work with you. Thank you so much for attending and we look forward to helping you.